Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to my channel. My name is Joanna. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for being here, for spending your time with us. My intention is very simple. It's to help you know yourself better. So if you are into that sort of thing, I hope you stay. I hope you like what you hear. And if you do, I would love for you to share this channel or this video with somebody who you think might also find it useful or purposeful. The more people know about themselves, the more people realize where their true power is. And the more that happens is less people give their power away. So I think it's a really good thing. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for being here. Again, without you, I wouldn't do this. And I love what I do for the most part, unless I'm resisting. And I am resisting right now because I'm going through a massive energetic upgrade. And this is actually the reason why I was guided to record this video. Because if you're listening to this, you yourself are going through some major upgrade, energetic upgrades. We are all going through an energetic upgrade. The whole planet Earth is shifting in her frequency, and we, as the occupants on planet Earth, are also going to be affected by that. So you are likely going through a major upgrade, and with the major upgrade come some things we're going to talk about, some things you might be feeling, some things you may be dealing with. This video is to help you manage the symptoms, quote unquote, of an upgrade. So what is an upgrade? Think of it in terms of a computer. Think of yourself as a massive, very powerful computer, and you as a computer are going through an upgrade. And generally, when we have an upgrade in our computer, what that means is that the very system upon which the computer works is changing. So if you think of your own computer, and when your computer is going through an upgrade, basically the old is erased and something new is being put forth where old used to be. But in that process, as it is upgrading, you can't really do anything. You can't use your computer. You just have to wait until this upgrade happens. And once the upgrade is complete, then you can start learning about this new upgrade. And generally, it takes a little bit of time to know what is new that has been input instead of the old, but also realizing that the old, what we were relying on, is no longer there. So if you are resonating with this upgrade, the intention is for people who resonate with this to listen to it. So chances are you are resonating with it. So if you are going through your own upgrade, and I'm sure you are, let's talk about some things that will be helpful for you to deal with this upgrade. I have some things that I have written down, and then I have 3 piles, and each one will have a specific message. So whatever message you resonate with, that's the message for you. Or if you resonate with all of the messages, which is often the case, then maybe there is something for you to take away from these messages. I am supposed to say this to you. I guess it's because you need to hear it. I am not here telling you what to do. We are not here telling you what to do. We are merely giving you suggestions. And if you feel that these suggestions could be helpful to you, what you do is you apply these suggestions and then you see the effects of these suggestions. But by no means what I am saying or what is coming through my mouth is the absolute truth. It is a higher perspective, but it's not the absolute truth. So take everything you hear with a grain of salt, but have an open mind. So this is the message that I'm supposed to share with you. The other message I want to share with you is emphatic. You've got this. Whatever you're going through, whatever challenge you're going through, whatever discomfort you're going through right now, you've got this. Really important for me to say, you, yes, you. Whatever you're going through, you've got this. It may not seem or feel like it right now, but you've got this. You are a very powerful soul. Your soul knows what it's doing. Your ego may not be privy to everything that is happening outside of its perception, but you're safe in this process. Now, of course, if you are in a situation where you feel absolutely not safe, then you have to do something about it. But for the most part, the message is whatever challenges you're going through, whatever upgrades you're going through, you are well taken care of and you are safe. Again, I wouldn't suggest you go out in the middle of a busy street because it's not safe. So I think everyone understands what I mean by that. Also, thank you, because this is a time where you will very likely be processing a lot of emotions and a lot of fears will come up, because that what tends to happen when we go through a process of change. And we are going through a massive process of change. I'm going through one as well. Because it's a time of a lot of emotional and downs, I would say, it would be a really good time for you, if you don't have already, some form of practice so that you can learn to process these emotions, and processing these emotions without necessarily identifying with these emotions. So if you're, for example, feeling something bad, it's for you to learn to process that feeling, process that emotion, and not hold on to what it is, because it may not even be yours. So a lot of you who are listening to this are here in part to help process energy on a collective level. I still don't quite understand how that works, but apparently some of us, maybe many of us, come with the intention to not only learn from and grow from our experiences, but to also help planet Earth shift in her frequency. And that simply means evolving to a space where we are not being held by our fears. So fears will come up. If you are wanting to find a good way of expressing your emotions without even understanding why they're there, breathwork is absolutely amazing at it. There's other techniques, but breathwork is absolutely amazing. And in fact, I am holding a breathwork session on Good Friday, which is April the 18th. If you are new to breathwork, you might want to try it out. I only priced it $9.99 because I wanted to make it available for everybody. For those of you who already know the benefits of breathwork, it's a phenomenal way to release. And I find that whenever I hold these breathwork sessions, tremendous level of healing happens, because healing essentially happens when we begin to release. So as we are releasing, we are also healing at the same time. In fact, they're saying to me that healing is virtually impossible without some sort of releasing. So I guess my conceptual mind thinks of it as, in order for me to heal, I need to be able to release. That makes sense to me. So if you're looking to release a lot of energy, and perhaps meet with your team, because amazing things happen in breathwork sessions, there's a link down below. Again, it's Good Friday, April 18th. I priced it, so it's pretty much available to everybody. It is a limited space because I wanted to give you time to ask questions and share, but space is still available. So that's regarding emotional releasing. All right. So as I was saying earlier, you are likely someone who is experiencing a lot of chaotic emotions. What does that mean? Well, the opposite of chaos is peace. So if you are experiencing a lot of chaos, you are likely not feeling peaceful right now. And that's likely because some things are coming up for you. And these things are likely connected to a sense of confusion you have because you're going through this major upgrade. So when we go through major upgrades, we are releasing the old, like the computer, it's getting rid of the old programming, and something new is coming in its place. And in that space, we can feel very wobbly because we are no longer where we used to be, but we're also not yet where we are going. We're somewhere in between, and that can feel very, very wobbly. When we are in the space in between, this is where a lot of things will tend to come up to the surface, hence the emotional volatility. So you are likely someone who is experiencing some ups and downs, emotionally speaking. That does not mean that there is something wrong. In fact, if you're experiencing a lot of ups and downs, it's good. It's almost like an omen that some internal shift is taking place on the inside. Our outside is the projection of our inside. So you as a person are massively changing. And even the best change can spur some discomfort because we humans tend to like our stability. We thrive on stability. So when things are changing, we often don't feel very stable. You might feel not very stable right now. My work is always evolving. And with each upgrade, I get the sense that I don't know what I'm going to be doing going forward. So I'm in this space in between where I can feel that the way I'm expressing my gift, my skills is changing. And that's uncomfortable because I don't quite know what is next. but I am being assured that what is quote unquote next is even better than what I have experienced thus far, but I have to trust it. So if you're going through emotional ups and downs, know that something good is happening on the inside because your energy is shifting and there is a bit of volatility. And then you as a person needs time to adjust to these new energies. So you will experience a lot of fluctuations in terms of your mood. There's other things actually I will be talking about. Some of the things you might be experiencing right now are sleep pattern disruptions. So your sleep may be all over the place right now. You might not be sleeping, or you might be sleeping way more than before. Normally, I would just go and work out. I sit on the couch and I go out cold for 3 hours. And when I wake up, I know I was in really, really deep. So some of you may actually be experiencing the need to nap more often, or maybe you never used to nap. What I would say to this is make sure you honor your body. If your body is feeling tired or is lacking energy, it doesn't necessarily mean there is something wrong. What it means is that your body is trying to process all this higher frequency. And that takes a lot of effort on your body, because think of it this way. It's like your body is learning how to hold higher frequency and it's not used to doing that. So it needs time to almost like learn how to hold this higher frequency. So it needs good nourishment. It needs a lot of downtime. It needs relaxation. It needs being taken care of. So if you're going through this process, and I suspect you are, taking care of your physical body is very important. Going back to sleep patterns. You might also notice, I've noticed this with myself, and I dream all the time. I know most people actually say they don't dream. I dream all the time. If I don't dream, it's like there's something wrong. But what I've noticed lately is that I will have dreams where I scream at the top of my lungs in the middle of the night. In fact, it happened last night again. I was screaming. And this happened 2 days after another episode where I woke up and was terrified of something and I was screaming. So you might be experiencing dreams like that. They're not comfortable dreams, of course, but essentially what they're saying to me is your mind is processing some form of old programming. So it's interesting because when I think of my dream, I don't even remember what it was about, but I know it involved another person and I don't remember what the situation was, but I was terrified. So if you are waking up screaming, chances are quite high that you are releasing some old memories, some unconscious memories, some unconscious programming. And that is a good thing because you want to release. It's not particularly great because when you have a dream like that, it's scary. So you might be experiencing that. You might be experiencing weight gain or weight loss. I mean, I've heard this before, so that wasn't new to me, but they actually said gain. They underlined the word gain. So some of you might be gaining weight. Some of you might be eating a lot. I find myself lately wanting to eat everything under the sun. And there's nothing wrong with eating everything under the sun until it starts to create other problems, which I don't want. If you're gaining a little bit of weight, if you've gained like 5-10 pounds and you're worried, just know that this is your body's reaction to this new higher frequency. It's almost like it needs to ground itself. Okay. Speaking of weight gain, you might also notice change in your appetite. So that you might be wanting to eat everything under the sun, or you may not be wanting food at all. Food may gross you out. The type of food that you are craving or wanting is also changed. You might be someone who consumes meat all the time, and all of a sudden you find that it doesn't resonate with you. Now, that does not mean that to be a higher frequency being, you have to get rid of eating meat. It does, at least not in my understanding, it doesn't mean that. If your body wants it and it craves it in this particular form, then give it. Don't deprive your body what it needs. But you might be finding that your body is wanting different types of foods, not because meat is bad, but because your body right now is learning how to function on this higher frequency, and it needs different foods to nourished out. So perhaps healthier eating, perhaps your taste might be changing. You used to be someone who is very sweet tooth, and all of a sudden you want something savory. So you might be going through a whole bunch of perceptual changes, and it might feel kind of wacky. Again, that is the byproduct, if you will, of this energetic upgrade. Change of perception. I mean, that's pretty standard. When we are shifting how we see things. We shift our perspective, our perception. So how you perceive things going forward, how you perceive yourself and other people is also beginning to change. So if you are looking at a situation and all of a sudden you see something about the situation that you have never seen before, and because of that you have the aha moment, then in that moment you have learned some valuable lesson. Okay? So shift of perceptions. We talked about emotional volatility. You will likely experience a lot of emotional ups and downs. It doesn't mean that there is anything wrong necessarily. It just means that your body is trying to purge itself, if you will, of denser frequencies. So again, things like fears will come up. There is a lot of things happening in the world, politically speaking. There are some changes that just have been implemented by the US on other countries, and that hits at a very primal level of survival. So, the whole political arena and how things are changed will have a tendency to affect people's stability in the world. So that will come up for you. It does not mean that things are not stable in the world, but there is some inner instability that's wanting to be addressed. And when I say inner stability, I'm talking about inner safety. When we don't feel safe on the inside, we're not going to, generally speaking, feel safe on the outside. Okay? So if we don't feel safe on the inside and the outside is showing you that there's valid reasons for you not to feel safe, that's going to be amplified. Your job is just to recognize what's happening. Fears are happening, but it's also opportunity for you to look at your own concepts around fear of survival. If you are someone who was brought up in a family where there was never enough money, you will have a tendency to have a lot of fears around not having money. And if you hold that energetically, those fears will be amplified and you will be experiencing based on those beliefs. So if this current economy is triggering your safety and security reasons or security buttons inside, it doesn't mean things are good in the world necessarily, but it is suggesting that there is some opportunity for you to look at your own survival fears. If you have been left by a parent, that's just an example, and you feel abandoned, then you are likely holding onto that abandonment fear, and it's part of your programming. If you have fears of abandonment, it will affect everything you do, especially in relationships. So if you have fears around abandonment, for example, you will have a tendency to keep yourself distant from other people, to close yourself emotionally off, to not allow yourself to be vulnerable. And all those things will affect your experience, and you want to live to the fullest. So what might be coming up for you is some fears around abandonment, fears around safety and security. What does it all mean to you? Because it's all based on programming, right? You will experience energy fluctuations. We talked about that, where you will want to sleep a lot or you will not want to sleep at all. Likely it's going to be the first one where you don't feel like you don't have a lot of energy, and you just have to give your body what it needs. This is a time for all of us to adjust to this higher frequency, and it's a process. It's important that during this process, we take care of our mind, body, and emotions, and that's really important. Uptake in vitamins. So again, I'm not a doctor, but it was suggested that during this, because it's a stressful time, it's stressful for the body, to make sure that you either drink plenty of water, consume wholesome, live nutrition, and support your body in ways that will allow you to feel at your best. So if that means an uptake in vitamins, if that means looking at your food choices and perhaps rethinking what you eat. And they're saying, do you eat to live or do you live to eat? It's an interesting concept. So make sure that you take care of your body properly because it's the vehicle in which you experience. So you want to make sure that this vehicle is well taken care of. So a lot of TLC. We talked about processing emotions. So your creativity may be on the rise. Most of the other things that I listed were kind of sort of not comfortable. This is actually nice. So your creativity may be on the rise. What does that mean? You might feel like you want to do something creative. I do have a creative streak, and this is also creative, but I just 2 days ago had this idea that I want to make my own candles, and I love candles. I'm like, really? Where does that come from? And I want to create shamanic feather for shamanic sessions. I have supplies, I bought them, I haven't used them, but there's something in me that wants to express itself in creative ways. And they're saying to me that that's a sign of nurturing the inner child, and also it's a sign of divine feminine coming online. Divine feminine coming online. And I always say divine feminine energy, we all have it, male, female, doesn't make a difference. It's a very powerful energy and it's a force of creation. So you might actually be feeling like you want to be more creative, and that's essentially a sign that your divine feminine is on the rise. That's what wants to come through me. So that is a good thing. Let's see what else I have. You may feel confused. Again, not unusual when we go through these changes. Just do your best and stay present in the moment as best as you can. Practice medication, practice mindfulness, practice taking good care of your body, go out in nature. Just allow yourself to move through this process of this upgrade. You will feel wobbly, unsure of yourself or your destiny. Again, what I was talking about at the very beginning, I can feel my work is changing. I can feel it. It's in my bones. But I'm not quite sure exactly what it's changing to. So I already know that the way I express my work is going to change. Yet again, I seem to be going through these changes a lot, but my aim for myself is to express myself to the fullest. So naturally, I have to continue to grow. So I don't mind these changes, but they're not comfortable. And all I can say to that is have faith that you've got this. You've got this. You've got this. There was another thing I wrote down that was really important. Okay, that's a message number one. Is there anything else? Higher consciousness. When you're feeling confused, when you are feeling wobbly, remind yourself of your intention. This is where manifestation can be a powerful thing right now, because we are in a steep climb in terms of frequency upgrade. So it's a big upgrade and it's quite fast. During these times, the idea of manifestation is amplified. I don't quite know exactly how that works, but this is what I'm being asked to say. And because it's amplified, anything you put into practice now is likely going to see itself to the future. In other words, this is an amazing time to plant seeds. In my 2025 forecast, that this year is a pivotal year. And they've said that to me. My guide said that to me last year. And it's pivotal in terms of a lot of changes and breaking old patterns. When we are going through an upgrade, we're going through a change, but we're also going through a process of breaking old patterns. Right. So when we're in this space of confusion, the best thing that we can do is remember our intention. Remember my intention. So one of my intentions, and I did a very powerful, advanced technique on manifestation, which just blows my mind how it works. It's just incredible. There are some things that I put on there, and one of the things I put on there was creating retreats and having more breathwork sessions and things like that. And all of it is coming to fruition already. And my job is not to figure out how it's happening, where it's coming from, or who it's going to come through. My job is to stay focused on that intention and know when I'm heart aligned with it. It's to know that as long as I believe it's eventually going to come to pass, and I don't need to know how it's going to happen. So do yourself a favor, if you haven't done so already, create a vision board or an intention board or something that symbolizes what you would like to experience, more money, for example, and put it on there and make that your intention and make sure that your intention aligns with what you believe. In other words, if your intention is to bring forth a lot of abundance, but you have scarcity mindset around abundance, then you have to look at the scarcity programming. And this, more than any time ever, is incredibly powerful in order for us to recognize our old programming, our subconscious programming is easier to reach because we're becoming more energetically open, so things are easier to reach. We can learn so much more about ourselves in a very short period of time than we have learned for a very long time. So we are on a steep climb. If you're feeling wobbly, if you're unsure of yourself, if you don't know how you're going to get to where you're going, remember your intention and stay aligned with your intention and make sure that what you are intending is aligned with what you believe. So this is shadow work. I work with shadow work all the time. It's a very powerful tool. Once you see and understand your shadows, you are less likely to be overwhelmed by your shadows. And shadows are always rooted in fear. So again, this is a good time for you to know yourself better. All right, so I have 3 piles. Let's go through the first pile. If you're drawn to message number 1, your message is let go of the need to know when something will happen and focus on your spiritual commitment. Have more faith in yourself and your abilities. Have faith in yourself and in what you're wanting to experience. And then before you know it, you will be in that experience. So it's not about having faith when something happens. It's having faith that what you want to happen is going to happen. So you have the card of tick-tock in reverse. Let go of the need to know time. When, Joanna, when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? Sometimes I get clients asking this question. Not often. My clients know how I work. It's like you're trying to get away from where you are right now. And if you are trying to get away from where you are right now, you're not being present. If you're not being present, then you are likely somewhere in your past or in your future, which means you are likely in anxiety. The message is very clear. Try not let time dictate your future. In other words, let go of focusing on when is something going to happen? When I get that question asked, my guys always say, it will happen when you're ready. But I'm ready. Well, maybe conceptually you're ready, but maybe there is something inside of you that's not yet ready to accept what's coming. And that's something that you're going to have to figure out for yourself. So let go of the need to control your time. So if you are someone who tends to be quite controlling, and controlling always goes to one place, it's safety. But if you tend to be someone who is very controlling or feel like you need to have your hand on everything, this is an opportunity for you to look at your reasons why you have the need for such high need to control. Why such high need for control? And if you sit with yourself and muse about it, you'll likely find that somewhere in your past, you learned that in order for you to feel safe, you need to control your environment. And it's very hard to control your environment. It's very hard to control the symptom. You can only manage the symptom, but the symptom is always rooted in cause. So if you are someone who is very controlling, and the cause of your need to control is because you don't feel safe on the inside, then we have to deal with that inner safety. So some of you listening to this are likely dealing with inner safety right now. And that's going to be coming up for a lot of people. Spiritual commitment. Stay present and focus on your chosen intentions. Please don't agonize about your intentions. Just be firm with your intentions and just live your day. You live your life day by day. That's the best you can do. You can live your life being as present in the moment as possible. Not easy. Absolutely not easy. But the more we focus on our breath, the more we focus on being present. So again, thank you. One of the ways that you can become more present with you is through breath work. It's amazing. So those are your messages for pile number 2. You are entering a place of plenty where you are being taken care of, even if you don't know how it will all happen. Because the message is called milk and honey, and it just represents plentifulness. This is where you're heading, pile number 2. The rainbow also represents luck. Thank you. So I'm being asked to say that you are a lucky person. And if you don't think of yourself as a lucky person, I would encourage you to start thinking of yourself as a lucky person. What does it mean to be a lucky person? Things just align. If you are someone who is used to frequent not luck, if you feel unlucky, there's the opportunity for you to rewire that belief system. Because if you believe that you are not lucky and luck is something that's not available to you, well, then you're going to prove yourself correct. That's just the nature of it. But you are entering a phase of plenty and being well taken care of, even though you may not know exactly how it happened. Have faith in yourself. When we're going through wobbly periods and we're confused, we're not sure where we are, where we're going, it's easy to have faith when everything is fine. That's easy. It's when things are challenging, that's when faith really comes up. It is in those moments that you have to rely on your faith the most. It is in those moments that you rely on having faith that something amazing is happening. Why? Because you're creating it. You're in a space of creation all the time. You are creating your world. Most of it is unconscious, but you are in the process of creation. Now, you might say, well, Joanna, I have a mess on my hand. I didn't create this. So feedback to that is, well, if you are being faced with a mess, then this mess has something to offer to you. And if it wasn't important for you to experience this mess, you would not be experiencing this mess. And as you go through this mess, whatever it may be, you are likely to learn something about yourself, something perhaps you didn't know. And maybe it's a very important lesson. So if you're dealing with some sort of a mess right now, with some sort of a challenging situation that you would call a mess, there's a reason behind why this mess is on your hands. Now, I want to be very emphatic here. That does not mean that you deserve this mess. It doesn't mean that you consciously created this mess. Nobody wants to do that. You wouldn't do that. You're not foolish. It doesn't mean that somehow you're being punished. It doesn't mean any of those things. It simply means you're going through a situation because you're going through your own evolution. And this mess, if you will, is something that you need to confront within yourself. Because your situation is a reflection of what's going on with you. So this is an amazing time for you to learn about yourself. Even if you're going through a bit of a mess, it's almost like I hear you, I feel you, because I wouldn't want mess on my hands. I have empathy and compassion for you, but I also know that you are heading to a space that's massively different and much more opulent and abundant. So maybe you need to go through this mess in order to realize more your potential. Also, taking a leap of faith. If there is something you've always wanted to do, if there is something that you always wanted to try, but you had no time, no money, no resources, if there is something you've always wanted to try and it's been just this thing in you, now it's time to release this intention to the universe. Okay? For example, if you've always wanted to be your own boss, that simply means you want to be in charge of yourself. If you are in a situation where you don't feel like you are in charge of yourself, but you are wanting to experience being a boss, then you have to move from this to this, and that requires change. I don't know why the idea of boss is coming up. Maybe you're someone who wants to be self-employed. So if you've always wanted to be self-employed and you have been employed by somebody else, You have to let go of this employment in order to move into self-employment. And that's not always comfortable. So you might actually be in a situation where something is being presented to you and requires you to have a leap of faith. And you will know whether it's the right thing for you to do, but you may not know if you have what it takes. Remember the message I said at the very beginning? You've got this. So you might actually be someone who is on the verge of losing a job because you're wanting to be your own boss. And you might be thinking, this might be the mess you have on your hand, or a relationship. You might be thinking, oh my God, I have this mess on my hand. Why is this happening? Well, this mess is the result of you shifting and changing so that you can go from being employed to being your own boss. And that takes different type of commitment, different level of commitment you have with yourself. So there might be some opportunities for you that there will be opportunities that will be presented to you, and maybe in some unconventional ways. Your job is to have a leap of faith. Now, I always say, you're also human. Don't do anything dumb or stupid. If you think that doing something is going to bring you to a space where you're going to fail, whatever that means, then you're not going to do it. Obviously, you're not going to take a risk or chance where you know, without a doubt, it's going to fail. Anything you do in life is a risk. We take risks all the time, every day. We just don't think about it because we've taken it so many times. It's no longer a risk. Some of you might be experiencing a place where you are being nudged or guided to taking a leap of faith and risk. And remember, you're moving to a much more opulent future. So whatever this risk may present for you, although it may feel scary or a little bit wobbly, success or a chance of success is at the end of it. So that's what I have for you, pile number 2. Pile number 3, your message is be in the now. Be in the now. We talked about it earlier, not easy, but be in the now. You're being reborn or reconfigured. You are in the process of realignment. You're coming full circle, end of karma and karmic patterns. You have patience. So when my guide said, have patience, I'm like, haha, I'm a Taurus. I'm apparently supposed to be patient. I'm not. I'm learning to be, but I'm definitely not a very patient person. And so if you're resonating with pile number 3, you are being literally reconfigured. You are being reconfigured. You are being reborn. And if you think of the analogy of birth, my understanding is that human birth is very traumatic. You're going through this squeeze through a tunnel. Sometimes you're stuck. You can't breathe. Yeah, it's trauma. So being birthed can feel, well, we don't remember, thank God, but being birthed is very traumatic and often dramatic. So you are going through your own process of rebirth. And it may feel, I don't want to say it may feel dramatic, but because you're going of this rebirth process, some old wounds are likely to come out to the surface. And I'm being guided to say womb area. You might be experiencing some abandonment issues come up, abandonment fears. And the reason why they're coming up is because you are ready to close that chapter. You are ready to let go of the fear of being abandoned, whether it's by a loved one, whether it's by a friend, whether it's by the universe, just the whole idea of being abandoned. And if you hold a fear of being abandoned, then what that really means is that you fundamentally don't feel safe. When you don't feel safe, you're going to close yourself down. You're going to keep yourself small. You're going to limit yourself. Because you're being reborn means that you are birthing you and you are expanding. The old belief systems, often rooted in trauma, have to go. As you are coming full circle and as you are closing doors to old pattern and karmic patterns, some of your fears and insecurities will come up for you. Take it as an opportunity to know yourself better, to know yourself more. shadow work, inner child work. This is an incredible time to know yourself. Essentially, when you know yourself, you know what your power is. Power is always on the inside. Also, you might feel like things are not in a flow right now. You're just not in the flow. Things are just not flowing. You're feeling stuck. Just because you're feeling stuck does not mean that things are not happening beyond your awareness. Perhaps you feeling stuck is really preparing you for what's coming next. Now, you might say, well, what's coming next, Joanna? Well, look at your intention. What's coming next is likely coinciding with the intention you have for yourself. So make sure that you are conscious of your intentions. That's okay. It's a temporary discomfort. Your job right now, as I talked at the very beginning, is to take care of your body. Practicing being still, making sure you drink lots of water, take some breaks, breathwork classes, one on the 18th of April. Maybe it's also not a time to make big decisions right now. I'm feeling in May, you might feel a little bit more clear in what's going on, but I don't feel like it's necessarily a time to make any choices or big decisions right now. So if you don't have to make any choices or decisions right now, don't make any. Remember, you are like the computer that's going through an upgrade, and during this upgrade, you can't work on your computer. You have to let it be. So allow this time to just be in your status quo right now. If it's uncomfortable, honor it. That is temporary. The discomfort is temporary. Choose for yourself. Don't let others choose for you. And we have programming that most of the time we don't even realize that we have others choosing for us, that we're not actually consciously choosing. Our old belief system is choosing for us. And more often than not, our old belief systems are not even ours anyway. They never began with us. They began with ancestors. You may be under the impression that you are choosing, but it's actually your old limiting belief system that's choosing for you. So as you're in this space of status quo, it's an opportune time to look at your limiting belief systems around money. If you have scarcity beliefs around money, if you feel that there is never going to be enough money for you, then I would really encourage you to look at that right now, because you are energetically aligned to release that. Again, breath work is amazing for that. Any kind of inner work, shadow work, inner child work, breath work, all of that. So you are ending old patterns. You are coming full circle, which means you are beginning brand new. So likely you are letting go of some old patterns. You are letting go of the way you used to eat. You are letting go of the way you used to dress. Your entire identity is shifting and changing. And that's a very confusing time. When our identity is shifting and changing, we'll go through a process that's called ego death. So you are at a brand new beginning, but also at the same time, the old part of you is dying. So think of it as the chrysalis, where the butterfly is just about to fly out of the chrysalis, but it's still stuck. So it's mostly free, but it's still stuck. This is how you might be feeling right now. Of course, you can't force the process, because if you force the butterfly to fly out too quickly, then it's going to get injured. It's not a good thing. It's going to get injured. So your job is to be okay with the status quo right now, even if it feels like things are not flowing your way, but also take this as an opportunity to look at your own perceptions and your own limiting and negative belief systems, because you are in an amazing space to releasing those. And sometimes sometimes you require somebody to help you with that, because it's very hard to be aware of what you're not aware of. So someone like me, for example, can hold your hand and point you in the right direction. Sometimes that's required, but a lot of this can be done on your own. So make sure you take good care of yourself. Make sure you believe in yourself. And again, the message is you've got this. All right? And oh yeah, have patience. That's the big one. When you're ready, you'll be in experience of it. So with that said, I hope this was helpful. I do hope to see you on April 18th. I'm really looking forward to it. I love doing breathwork sessions. It's just such a powerful experience, even for me as the practitioner. And our podcast, this Demystifying Divinity, is also on Spotify and Apple. There's a link down below.
And I would love to hear your comments. Let me know what you're going through, what you are experiencing. Are you feeling wobbly? Are you feeling emotionally volatile? Are you feeling like angry and then happy the next day? And you're like, what the hell is going on? Share with us. You sharing helps other people know that they're not alone. And the reason why I share these experiences with you is because I'm being guided to share them, because I know if I'm going through it, then likely you're going through it, because we're all going through it together. And all humans share same emotions. We all experience fear. We all experience joy. We are all here being humans. So we all have that in common. So when I share with you, likely you feel like, thank God I'm not alone. Where you share with us, other people are like, oh, thank God I'm not alone. And that brings us a little bit of from agitation to, I am okay. There's nothing wrong here. Everything is fine. This is all part of the bigger process. And it helps you just be more at peace with the process. And essentially, that's all I want for you. Because I want peace. That's what I want. I don't want to be stuck in my inner prison. I want peace, and I naturally want that peace for you. Here's the beautiful thing. The more you're at peace with yourself, the more you are in conscious exchange with the universe. The more you're at peace with yourself, the more you are in amplified exchange with the universe. I want to say it differently. When you feel more at peace, you have way higher access to your inner wisdom and to wisdom beyond. When we're at peace, we can rest in our heart. We can be in the body. We can be still. When we don't have peace, we go to this little box called the human mind, and this is where all the yuck lives. This is where the story lives. So the more we are in our bodies, the more we are at peace, the more we are able to deal with anything that life shows us or gives us. And life is always going to give us things because we're here to experience quote unquote things. And when you have more peace on the inside, any challenge that you're being faced with, you're going to approach it from a more peaceful state. You're still going to be able to deal with it, or you still have to deal with it, but you approach it from a much more peaceful state. And that is a whole new way of living. It's not always easy to attain. I certainly am not there all the time. I strive for it. But when I'm in those spaces, even though certain fears get magnified and I start hearing things, it's like, oh my God, I have to take a deep breath, and I have to remember that I am a big part of what I experience. So it's up to me to stay present and focus on the peace and on the trust that the universe always provides for me, because it does. It has no other option. The universe has no other option but to provide. And the universe always provides based on energetic alignment. So with that said, thank you so much for being